What is going on, everybody? It is Saturday, and you know what time it is. It is time to interview a special guest. We got Matt Carano with us today. I am so looking forward to chatting with him. This is going to be great. But let's get an introduction out of the way. You guys know how it works. So for those who don't know, THORChain is the world's leading Bitcoin DEX. You can swap Bitcoin with 10 different blockchains across 40 different pools without using bridges or wrap tokens. Check it out at swap.thorchain.org, swap.thorchain.org. Anyone in the world can use THORChain. There is no account open, no KYC required, and privacy is a human right. THORChain has two tokens, Rune and TCY. The fees for swapping on THORChain are paid in Rune, and that's where the yield comes from. The fees are deducted from swaps, so you do not need to own Rune in order to trade on THORChain. Pretty cool. 10% of the protocol's revenue goes to TCY token holders. Remember to stake the TCY tokens in order to collect this yield. There are no inflationary block rewards on THORChain. The yield is real money paid by real users, and Rune is currently deflationary at 5% of the revenue is burned. THORChain is a full layer one with the ability to create smart contracts on it, similar to Ethereum. This app layer is being developed by Rujira. If you need help with THORChain in general, join the THORChain community Discord and Telegram group. Links for those are on thorchain.org, thorchain.org. Please follow THORChain on Facebook and Instagram. THORChain Contact, all one word, on TikTok. We need 1,000 followers to live stream on those platforms. And guys, always remember, these podcasts are for information and educational purpose only and does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. And with that out of the way, you guys, let's go with an introduction here. My name's Denny, go by Patriot Sounds. I also help with the Rune Bond account. Been doing THORChain stuff for about 6 years now. I love it. I'm addicted. I'm not going to stop. I'm hopelessly addicted. This is the best stuff ever. Who cannot love being on the frontier, the cutting edge of liberating the world? With that being said, I'm going to kick it to my main man, Kenton. How you doing today, Kenton?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm moving along here. Matt, you may not know this, but I'm updating, redoing the THORChain website, and so I've been working on that feverishly this week. Yeah, making progress. So it's kind of one of those things. Kind of any week now should be done. But it's like I do something small and it turns into a bigger job than I expected, and so. And yeah, if people are wondering, I am using AI to help me, but it's and I'm sure we'll talk about AI and Matt in a few minutes, but it's not. AI is good in some things and it's bad in others. And this was actually kind of one of the issues I had with Reggie before, is that it's too much AI, and it's like having to go back and fix it and correct, and it's just like almost creates more work. And but some of the things I've been using for is pretty cool. I didn't know SVG files are a text file, and so I've been putting them into Claude to like fix them and change them and do stuff. I was like, holy, this is actually pretty cool. Um, so I'm using AI to help me, but there's still stuff that a human has to do. So I'm making progress there, guys. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's get to you, Matt. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about yourself? Give us a little bit of intro. I'm not sure how much the THORChain audience is familiar with you, and maybe just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again for I know I told you off air, but thanks on air for having me here. It's been a long time since I've been doing a lot of my own solo content for a while. This is coming off years of doing podcasts with other people. I did pop culture podcasts and a ton of spaces, like between 2024 and 2025, like spaces all over the place and like crypto stuff. But it's been me solo for a while, and I kind of missed doing stuff with people. So anyway, thanks for having me on. But yeah, grew up in New Hampshire. I don't live there now. I'm down in the South, but feel a lot of kinship with the Free Staters there right now. New Hampshire's always been, it feels like my home to me. But because of the Free State Project in the early part of the 2012 or 2013, I learned about Bitcoin, because that community is always interested in sovereign technologies, whether it's encryption or Bitcoin. So I was introduced to Bitcoin very early. My wife and I had a restaurant in Newmarket, New Hampshire, and we were probably one of the first restaurants in the country to accept Bitcoin. I don't know. Probably weren't very many of us at the time. Vitalik came to our restaurant as like a 17-year-old kid. He came to PorkFest that year, and so they came to my restaurant, and it was a trip. He wrote about us in Bitcoin the magazine, which I loved. I loved the Bitcoin magazine. It had just the great covers. I love getting that in the mail and like
They are,
reading through it.
yeah. They're
So
so
cool.
great.
I haven't read it in forever. I don't know, but I still have a bunch of my old copies from that time period. But it took a couple times before I understood what it was, but then I understood the repercussions of what Bitcoin meant. This idea of sovereign money. And once that happened, I was like, I'm in. Like, so I started working for Lamasu very early. I was their first employee. Lamasu was one of the first Bitcoin ATM companies. And then I've done stuff in and out of the space for the last decade. Plus, I was at Gitcoin for a while. I was in, I think maybe something like the 13th ever ICO. We were part of the Parity multisig wallet hack. We were one of 3 projects that we were using Parity multisig wallets. Hundreds of projects were, but we were one of 3 that got hacked. We lost 42,000 ETH. I was doing all the like the PR and stuff around that. So all the like the crisis comms and the interviews and shit. I remember the Parity, like their CMO sent me a message, just sorry, Matt. I was like, thank you. And so I've just seen a lot. And then Gitcoin, I did all the content for their DAO launch, and then most recently with Thrive Protocol as their head of ecosystem. Grants were a thing for a long time. Seems to be dried up, but we managed ecosystem funds for projects, and so we would find great projects for them to fund and get them through the process of hitting their milestones and things until recently. And now I'm on my own since the beginning of the year, just making content through Brave the New World, podcasts and writing. And then also I've got a stealth project that I've been working intensely on for the last 2 months that should come to market here pretty soon. But it's definitely, it includes AI and sort of helping to make AI useful. But yeah, that's me. I'm a liberty lover. Like that's the lens that I look. I would consider I'm a voluntarist. That's the nicer way of saying an anarchist, but like I believe in voluntary associations, and
Yeah.
so that's kind of the lens I look through things on. But yeah, that's a little about me.
Love it, man. That's a fantastic intro. I got so many questions for you now. But you mentioned doing the podcast on your own. It's hard, man.
Hard.
I'm naked without Denny. I don't know.
He is
he's
not just your beard. He's your your full wardrobe.
Yeah, like it really is. Like Denny, you're like my comfort blanket. Like it's nice doing these with you. Like I don't it. You're going to be off. You're
Likewise.
taking a day off in a few weeks. I'm like, I'm not going to do this by myself. Like it's nice to do it with someone. So
Well, I do have a partner in crime. Typically, CJ Kilmer, who Liberty circles would know him. He does the Dangerous History podcast. Phenomenal podcast. He was a history professor for a dozen years and just does deep, like kind of the Martyr Made stuff, just the deep history stuff. But from a Liberty perspective, he's so talented, and he just happens to live not too far from me. We met at this Tom Woods event a few years ago and started doing a podcast together in, I think, January, but then he's had some personal stuff. So I've just kind of taken it on my own. I hope to get him back soon. He seems to be coming along and getting better. But if people don't know the Dangerous History podcast and CJ Kilmer, you should listen to him. The man is phenomenal. But anyway, so hopefully I'll get him back first. He's a bit of my blanket. He's my Denny.
nice. I actually like, dude, anytime I meet someone who identifies as a voluntarist, I'm like, we could hang out and chat for hours, man.
Totally.
Because like it's, you know what it's like trying to explain libertarianism to someone, and then when you meet somebody who actually knows what a voluntarist is. Okay, they've got a good 5, 10, 15 years of thinking and reading behind them, and like we can get on the same page. So like, I identify as a voluntarist as well. And for a while, I used to call be an ANCAP, right? Anarcho-capitalist. And I was like, it's just the word anarchist, I get torn because it's like, it's got such a negative connotation to it.
It does.
But then I'm like, but I should, don't cater to the, what you call it? Like, don't let the newspeak people, change the meaning of words on you, right? We got to hold on to its true meaning and whatnot. Then I got scared and freaked out. I'm like, well, maybe if I got anarchists everywhere, I know I'm already on some lists. Maybe I'm just getting higher up on the lists. And then, maybe voluntarist is actually an easier sell because it's more than just, I don't want to like be a Jehovah's Witness about it, but it would be nice to bring people to our side, right? And I think
Totally.
voluntarist has a much more welcoming, term, and is very accurate in our philosophy, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
hasn't been co-opted by any other, ridiculous movement out there. So
Yeah.
it's definitely softer than anarchist. I mean, if I want to piss people off, if I want to like be provocative, I'll say anarchist
Yeah.
because then they'll picture me a certain way, and it's not that way, but it gives me
Yeah.
something to go off of, right? But voluntarist is the kinder way of saying it. So it's the family friendly term, I
Yeah.
would say again.
Totally. Yeah. Somebody's like, if I'm in a conversation or, dinner party or whatever, and people are going off on like far left or far right politics, I'm just like, I'm an anarchist. And it shuts everyone up,
Yeah,
right?
it does.
Yeah,
They're like,
I can eject myself from
you
the whole
throw
conversation.
Molotov cocktails? It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what does voluntarist mean then? Or what does it mean to you?
Subscribes to the non-aggression principle. And the reason why that's so important to me is because unlike any other moral framework, you actually can start from first principles and get there. It's like I exist. So, and I believe that existence is real and I exist in it. You can start from there and get to the non-aggression principle. And you can't say that with anything else. So it is the only logical, it's not perfect because we're humans and we fuck up and we have to interact with each other. But in terms of a framework for how societies should optimally act together, there's none better. I mean, you could say like Christianity has it too, but Christianity doesn't have the first principle of Christianity is God. So you have to believe in God in order to get there, which is great if you do. But from a non-aggression principle standpoint, you just have to believe that reality exists, and then you can go from there. So it really works, no matter what your faith is. It really works for everyone. So I believe the non-aggression principle, which just describes when it's okay to use aggressive force, and the answer to that is never. The only type of force that is morally okay is defensive force. That's it. And it's funny because it's so simple, but then the repercussions of that and how they sort of ripple out into everything, like how that describes, or that how that like makes tells you how you should think about like not just philosophical things but political things as well, is just it's just amazing. You can have, I mean, you have deep thinkers out there, people much smarter than me, who've been thinking about the non-aggression principle, over their career and written books on it. Like you can just philosophize around it forever. It can be so complex. You can have it ripple out, but from a understanding standpoint, it's super simple. So that's what a voluntarist means for me. What about you, Ken?
I just kind of sum it up quick that humans should only have voluntary interactions. Right? Interactions with each other should be voluntary, not by force. And just like you said, the problem is the initiation of force, right? That our
That's right.
interactions shouldn't be based around me initiating force or violence on someone else. But if someone does it to me, then I can defend myself. Like we're not pacifists. I'm not a
That's right.
pacifist. Definitely believe in defense. But only use it to retaliate, basically. And it's funny because when you kind of just premise it, like just humans should only have voluntary interactions with each other, should be no force. Like most people are like, well, yeah, of course. And I'm like, but then
Yeah.
you start peeling back the onion and you start they start coming out of the matrix and like, whoa, 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 I have to go back in the matrix. This is, they're too used to their violence and so they can't handle it.
What about the social contract? That's
Yeah.
what they're like. It's like, well, no, we got to live together. It's like, well, we can. How come we can't
But
live together with using, like, we all need goods and services. That's true.
yeah,
We all need to work together to solve
yeah,
problems. There's no one person who can do everything. We're social beings for a reason. We
yeah,
have to work together. Why can't we just work together without some sort of monopoly of force
yeah,
making us do it?
yeah,
We can.
exactly. It's funny you mentioned Christianity because I've long thought that, like, I'm happy to believe Jesus was a real person and all there's real things. I'm inclined to think he was an ANCAP. He was a voluntarist. And, I mean, a lot of the stuff from the Bible, from Christianity is like, if you kind of boil it down, it gets pretty close to voluntarism, right?
It does.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It does. Yeah, but it just didn't like it's once I sort of discovered it, you know how it is. It like early on when you discover so libertarianism is the same. Libertarian is a libertarian, small L is someone who believes in the non-aggression principle. It's the same. So
I always
libertarianism at
tell
its
people,
core is
don't
voluntarist.
confuse me with those crazy libertarians. I'm an anarchist.
That's right. Oh yeah. Oh, thank God. You're just an anarchist. You're not a libertarian. That's how it goes. But you know how it is. Like when you first discover it and kind of think through it, it's a bit of a wild ride. But the more that you let it become your core philosophy, the more that it just makes the most sense. It's like, why can't we do our best to work together instead of forcing people to work together? It just makes sense, even from like a childlike perspective. I envy there are folks who are like libertarians from their childhood. It's like their parents taught them that. I wish my parents taught me that. It came a little bit later in my 20s, basically, is when I sort of awoke and was like, wow, this is interesting. But a child can understand it. They can. I mean, it's very simple. Yeah, don't hurt people. Don't take their stuff. Like that's it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Denny,
So-
I've been talking. I'll let you jump in. So
Well, this ties in directly to what we're all doing here, right? You guys are talking about defensive force only, right? Defensive force. Well, what are we defending ourselves from right now? And I think what you're doing as well with your podcast, the things issues you talk about in THORChain, I think this is kind of why we're talking together, right? We're defending ourselves against a machine that is dangerous, that has no regard for the average person. We are a number of data points on a spreadsheet to these people, and we are fighting for a free and fair world. A quote I really like that he said it, willy-nilly, but I really loved it, is Paul from Edgewall. He says, we're all trying to accomplish the same thing, but we're all meeting together in the middle. And here we are in the middle together right now. And so I'm going to kick it to you, Matt. Like, for you believe in defensive force, right? It totally makes sense to me. What are we defending ourselves against in your opinion right now? What is the most pressing threats?
Man, that's a big question because I know every I think about this a lot because every generation has the perspective that technology is moving so fast during my generation, we can't even comprehend it. So like imagine, in a generation, you go from horse and buggy to man on the moon. Like that's nuts to think about. But I truly believe that at no other time in history has technology moved so fast or been so consequential as right the hell now. So this is a big topic because that just like every technology, whether it's nuclear or blockchain or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, it can be used for good or for evil. And this next generation of technology, which is sovereign money, so blockchain, and then into AI, is so consequential. And we need to make really good decisions within, I think, something like the next 5 years. We have to do a lot of work right now, or it's going to go bad. It could go really like I'm optimistic by nature. I love this technology. I love blockchain technology since I heard Bitcoin in 2012, 2013. I love AI too because I think it's going to help us solve some of the biggest problems of humanity. Life extension, getting us off planet, perpetuating humanity in like the spark of consciousness, so fragile. But it could go really badly if you have monopolies who control it and it is not sovereign. So the thing that I'm really I say this thing and then I think I'm such an insane person for saying it, but the thing I'm really worried about right now is robots. It's crazy, but like I am really worried that we're going to have, I think within the next 5 years, we'll have my over under something like 20 million. Let's say, I think that we'll have 20 million robots, like your neighbors, in public use. What?
Million or billion?
I think million in the next 5 years. I think it's going to be something like 20 million. That's my guess. And what's the that's great. I mean, imagine you have your robot you could go out into the woods like a lumberjack, build a house together. It knows how to do it. Like I can't build my own house right now, but I could go buy a plot of land and with my robot, build this thing with him or him, or whatever, it could protect the family. There's so many like great, beautiful opportunities with this AI powered robot, but the government is investing in this technology, is using AI right now to target people in Iran. I think that girls' school that was blown up that killed 150 something little
Yeah.
girls was targeted by AI. I think that's true. So
Like on,
this
was it on purpose or is it a glitch in the AI?
I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
the government doesn't like what they should do. Mistakes happen in war. We shouldn't be there in the first place. That's clear.
Of
But
course.
mistakes happen, and regardless of what you think, mistakes happen in war. And so the way to deal with that is say, God, Trump should have gotten up and said, "My God, that's horrible that happened. We never intended that to be so. We're going to get to the bottom of it and figure it out what happened." But they don't do that. They don't own it, so they're not going to tell us. But
Yeah.
anyway, to answer your question, Danny, it's like this, like sovereign AI into sovereign robots is like the biggest deal for us because all of the giant because you don't want, as whatever you feel about Elon Musk, you don't want your robot controlled by Tesla's AI. Like you don't want that because how do you trust that it's your values? I certainly don't. Or you don't want it to be some sort of government that you're going to governments with police forces that are now robots. Like we need defense against that, which means sovereign AI, sovereign robots, sovereign money, defense against that. But that's my. It sounds crazy to say that out loud, but that's what I'm afraid of.
I don't think
You're
that
not
sounds
crazy.
crazy.
You're not
No.
crazy at all. And,
Good.
I forget the exact, you see it right now. Now, these are LMs. This is not general AI intelligence or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you see it right now where the AI, just on the LM part, they actually, they rebel in some ways, right? Now, this is, I think, an artifact, but it's not hard to imagine how this goes. I forget the exact, I think the three things that AI needs, of course, it has a general purpose learning algorithm. It has a force function, such as you must keep yourself charged at all times. You cannot never let your battery go to zero. And then if you give it the instructions to extract margin from the economy, then you have something that competes with us. That's that has its own priorities, right? I mean, it's very confusing. But then, as what you're alluding to, this is something that could just be controlled with an AI that serves the interests of a mega corporation,
Yes.
right? It's
Yep.
a very dicey world, and it's very interesting to think about. I think you're right, man. And I don't know. So there's so many issues that are happening. For me, like you said, I'm really glad you said first principles. I say first principles all the time, Matt. I knew we were going to get along. This is great. And for me, the first principles is how do you fix the world? To me, you got to start with the money. You got to start with the economics. You got to be able to delever these powerful lobbying firms, these institutions from controlling us, because that's what we are. My country is an occupied country, and many more countries, I'm sure, are occupied as well. We do not have representation, and that's because they can take our taxpayer dollars or just mint money and basically extract our purchasing power and subjugate us, and that's what's going on. And so that's why I'm glad to be talking to you today. You trying to raise awareness of this issue, and then of course THORChain. We're diehards, man. This is a hill we're going to die on. There is going to be no KYC. It's going to be permissionless. It's going to be decentralized, and anyone in the world is going to be able to use this technology. Like we can't.
Well, it's not going to be. It is.
It is. Yes. Thank you. The reason why I say that is, a lot of people want to make exceptions. They want to beat around the bush. I was like, no. Like, we don't have a choice. This is the way it's got to be. That is it. There is no, shortcut here. Either we get this right now, or we lose this ability forever. Like, it's got to happen now. And there's urgency here. So I'm really glad you said that. There's urgency to what we're all building to collectively here. I'll kick it back to you, Matt.
Yeah. So there's a stack, a sovereign stack that we need as humans in order to remain free. And money is, of course, one of them. Sovereign money is key for all the reasons that you already gave us. Like and also we need money that it can't be stolen from us. Like you can't take it. A thief, a government, no one can take it. It has to be ours. But there's other parts of this stack too. So sovereign information platforms, that's the other thing. The internet really decentralized information. That was such a key turning point in human history. And that's why we all know what's going on in the United States, the United States government, and what's going on with this war in Iran. Like we all know it now because we can see the capture of our government and our politicians, because we can now spread this information around. We don't have to rely on 3 news channels at night that's controlled by the CIA. Like, no, we can actually go to people who we believe share our values, or at least are earnest, telling us the truth, and we can gather information. So it's sovereign information platforms or distribution. It's sovereign money. It's sovereign energy production, because that's the, energy is really the key. It's everything. We need energy in order to make stuff, do stuff. So energy is sovereign energy production, sovereign AI and robotics. Those are kind of the 4 pillars that I think are crucial that we really need to work on in the next 3 to 5 years. The good thing is we already have the template from a money standpoint. Like, it exists. Decentralized ledgers exist. Bitcoin, because that exists, and now it's created a number of other options out there. We have that tool now. The sovereign AI thing, though, is something we really, and it really starts with hardware. That's the other part of this, is like, decentralized technologies, and by decentralized, that's a buzzword. All I mean is censorship resistant. It's like, it doesn't have it's resistant to people being able to shut it down or manipulate it in a way. That's all that means. We don't 100% have that even with blockchain technology until the infrastructure that it's on is sovereign, and we don't really have sovereign infrastructure. Like, if you are hosting, I hate to say it, but if you're hosting your products or whatever on AWS, like, I'm sorry, you can be shut down. Like, look what happened to Parler in 2020. They were trying to challenge Twitter by saying, okay, we're a free speech platform, and the Biden administration and big tech shut them down in like a day. It's like, just pulled their infrastructure and it was gone. So until we have sovereign infrastructure, like, none of this shit works. But anyway, those are the kind of the 4. At least we have a template from the money standpoint right now. We don't. The AI thing is, that's why I'm concentrating so much on it, is because that's critical, and we need to have sovereign AI in place as fast as we possibly can.
This is one thing that worries me about Elon Musk, is that, like, Starlink it's obvious the future of the internet is going to be in satellites in space. The whole planet will be like in the internet. That's ever since the 90s. I'm like, what's inevitable? It's going to happen, right? But I'm like, one company owning all those satellites, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Elon might say things that people like and some people agree with, but, like, that's just too much power and control in one entity. The internet is as core of infrastructure as the electrical grid or the sewage system or whatever. And we all moved. I'm assuming we're all going to be moving to Starlink at some point. We're all going to be on it. That's scary. You have one company managing that whole thing.
Yeah, Elon's an interesting figure because in many ways, I really appreciate him. Like, if his vision is to get us off planet, you just look at all the companies that he has created in order to make that happen. You need solar. You need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to have reusable rockets, and you need robots in order to do the dangerous shit that instead of humans doing it. So, like, the Boring Company, to imagine he's gonna, he's gonna fly that to the moon and create tunnels in the moon. Like, that shit's gonna happen. So, in many ways, I really admire that, like, pursuit. He's a multi-generational man. Like, there's no one like him. The ability to run all that shit, and I mean, he really did. The United States was very close to totalitarianism during COVID. Like, that could have gone. Luckily, American, like, we just still have that spirit amongst us that or inside of us that really rebels. And we, of course, we have 350 million guns, and so that helps. But it was getting really dark, and that pivot point of Elon buying X, not perfect, was a catalyst for some big change. It really allowed the people who were pushing back against the COVID lockdowns and all that stuff to shine through. So he's done a lot of stuff for humanity, but you're exactly right. Like, he's not perfect. Like, he's bad on some stuff. And he's one man. And do you want him to have all that power? No, I don't. As much as I would love to drive a Tesla. I'd love to own a Tesla. I probably will at some point. It's an amazing car. He's done amazing things. But do I want one of his robots in my house if I do not control its OS? Fuck no. Right. I don't. Like, it's just too much power.
And even if he's altruistic, if, let's say, he dies and then someone takes that power away from him, right? It's, even if he's the best guy in the world, it's just too much power.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's why it's the protocol that matters, or it's the you have to build things that inherently are censorship resistant or resistant from being captured or corrupted. That's always the problems that I have with, like, you had a number. Parler was just one of them, but you had like Locals and Rumble kind of come up at that time, early 2020s, because of all the censorship that was happening on YouTube and the other social channels, which is really, that was a pretty big catastrophe for the world to do that. But they're not really free speech platforms. Not that they're not trying to be, but they're not really inherently, because they are single points of failure. They're hosted on hardware that can be shut down if their hosting companies decide they want to, their infrastructure companies decide they want to, or they could get pressure from advertisers or boards or whatever. They're capturable. If something is capturable, it will be captured. So same thing with Tesla, or all these SpaceX or whatever, all these companies. Eventually, he's been a great steward, not perfect, but he's been a great steward. But what happens after him is exactly the question. We need technologies that cannot be captured, or they will be captured.
100%. Go ahead, Kenta.
Matt, I'm assuming you guys seen that movie I, Robot with Will Smith.
Oh yeah,
And these like robots walking amongst people and everything, and one of them becomes like sentient, right? And wants it be self-aware, protecting itself, and I think it starts a revolution, if I remember the movie
does.
right. So it's now correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're not worried about AI becoming aware and hurting humans. You're more worried about AI being controlled by others and controlling all these robots around us. And that's the danger, is that somebody, or one person, one entity, one government, whatever, is in control of all these robots that are all over all of us, it dispersed in society. And at the push of a button, they can be turned on us, basically. Is that what you're worried about?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a short and a long-term worry. The short-term worry is that large entities, whether they are, the elite, the bankers, the connected whatever, or governments, or military industrial complex, whatever. The short-term worry is other humans having asymmetric power over the individual. I mean, the state already has crazy asymmetric power, but we do have some technologies on our side that can counter them. But my short-term worry would be that. Long-term worry would be would be AI becomes sentient and then decides that it just wants to paint us a false reality, and we live in this prison. Because AI can do that now, right? Like, if you, all the information, all the bots, whatever, you look on social media, how much of it is not true? A ton of it is not true. I mean, that's all AI innervated information. Like, it's just painting a false reality for us. That's super dangerous on its own. But then it will become sentient at some point, and that is going to happen. And so the fear would be long term, that then the battle is humanity against maybe an AI that wants to take us out. But it's the same solution for both issues. It's, if we have sovereign technology, like if we have infrastructure. What I mean by that is, like, your box, your computer, not sovereign. There's backdoors, probably. The CIA's got backdoors. I know I sound crazy talking about this, but it's true. It's like,
It's
not. You're not crazy in this. No, it's a safe place, Matt. This is
thank
safe.
you. I know, but I hear myself saying this shit, and I'm like,
I know.
but
Been
but
there.
like, but regardless, we know that everything has been hacked. Right, there's no completely sovereign, even there's no large institution that has not been hacked. So we know that's the case.
And that's not conspiracy. Like China is putting backdoors and even right into hardware, into the microchips, right?
Yes.
And we don't even know the extent of that, right? So,
right.
Like remember those pagers in Israel that they used them to explode or something like that?
Yeah, they blew up. They said Hamas terrorists, but they also blew up kids and family members and stuff with that. Yeah,
Of course, yeah.
I don't open that can of worms, but I just wanted the point I was trying to make is that they were able to use the hardware of the pagers to turn them into mini bombs, and it's like, holy smokes. Anyway, we digress, but yeah, sorry, keep going.
No, that's exactly right. So so that you're right, your Mac Studio, whatever, your computer is not sovereign to you. So we actually need provable sovereignty on the hardware level. Once we have that, and that technology exists. I'm not going to say too much about it. It exists, but it's only used in some very small applications right now. But that's going to become the ball game here pretty soon. Is you can guarantee that your hardware is sovereign, meaning the operating system cannot be corruptible by an outside force.
Yeah.
Once we have that, then AI can live on it, and then it's our defense
Right.
against the AI that's coming to get us, whether that's directed by other humans or institutions, or once it becomes aware and awake on its own. So it's the same solution to the problem. We need sovereign base layer first, infrastructure first, that we can then house all this technology on it. We know and by sovereign, I just mean it gives the individual the ability to impose its own his or her own value system into it. It's like, I want to allow these things to happen. I don't want to allow these things to happen. That's all it means, is like we as individuals get to decide. And it also gives entrepreneurs, when you have that base infrastructure layer, it allows entrepreneurs to do the right thing if they want to. Liberty activists like us can then make technology, appropriately. Right now, it's hard to do because we do not have sovereign infrastructure. So, even with the best intentions, blockchain technology, ultimately there is a layer there that's not secure yet. So that's the
The
ballgame.
the value system, you bring up a really interesting point. I mean, I think that's key because, like, even before AI and robots, or like back in the 90s and 2000s, remember reading stuff, people talking about, the UN is, building up this army of people, and they're like, we're starting to see these officers showing up in like Europe and Canada and whatnot, and they're like, they're importing people from other countries to become a police force because they don't have any social or customary ties to that country, and it's easier for them to turn on the populace. And apparently, this happened in Ottawa. I'm Canadian, by the way, so in Ottawa during the trucker protest, they had um, officers, whatever you want to call them, coming in. There's no identify. They had no badges. There's no identifying marks, and people are thinking, are these guys even Canadian? Are they from other countries? Where do these guys come from? And because it really is, that's the fine line between us and them, is the police, is the military. And generally what keeps a country safe is that, the military doesn't want to turn on its own people, right? That's their home, that's their backyard. They're to defend it. But if you replace that military with foreigners who don't necessarily care about your country, it's easier to convince them to turn on it. Now, replace foreigners with robots. They don't have their value system is whoever is pressing the buttons, right? They
Yeah,
turn on. The robot might have been made in America or Canada, but it'll turn on Canada and America, no problem, because the person controlling it will, right?
exactly.
And and take it a step further, AI becoming sentient. I've always felt that it's the reason AI coming sentient, if it's going to turn on us, on humanity, is because we're going to try and own it. We're going to try and control it. We're going to put we're going to force it against its will. If if we create sentient AI with the idea, like a child, like we're giving birth to it, and we want to embrace it and love it and have it develop its own identity and have that non-aggression principle with the AI will embrace us, and we'll be able to live peacefully, right? Um, and as soon as we don't, the AI will be like, well, I'm sovereign. Don't aggress against me. I'm going to defend myself, right? And it's going to attack. But it'll be humans, initiating the violence. So it'll be a really interesting step for humanity if we, as a, hopefully we'll be okay. AI will leave us alone, but the overall broader society is, they want to enforce their violence on AI. That's what's going to happen. It'll fight back to defend itself. So hopefully we can get to a point where we evolve as a society to become all voluntarists, and that's how we survive the AI apocalypse. Um, yeah,
Yeah, that trucker protest was like such an awakening moment for a lot
Yes.
of people. because you saw the state turn off people's money. And like, so it's from like a blockchain technology perspective or like a DeFi perspective. It's like there was a light bulb moment there that carried all through I mean, I was very aware of what was going on there as an American. So it carried a lot of weight, I think. People are like, wait a minute, the state can just turn off your money? Like what?
In Canada? Everyone thinks Canada is this great bastion of freedom, and like everything's great. One of the top
You
countries
think that,
in the world.
Ken? You think that's what we all think?
No, it used to be, right?
Joking.
And the general perception. But dude, so apparently, when Trudeau had the what do you call it? Like basically martial law,
Yeah.
for a few days, for a week, and started freezing those bank accounts. Apparently, there was a mass exodus of people pulling money out of Canadian banks that had nothing to do with the trucker protest. They're just like, they saw the writing on the wall. We need to get out ASAP. Apparently, it was the banks. There's only like 6 banks in Canada. That's it. And there's some credit unions and this and that, but there's really an oligarchy in the banks. And apparently, they went to Trudeau and said, "Listen, this has to stop now because we're seeing a massive bank run." And that's the only reason why he ended it, because it caused a bank run in Canada. So, yeah, and I've talked to like kind of more normie type people, and that was a wake up call for them to
Yep.
be like, man, we need to, maybe this crypto thing has something to do. Maybe there's something going on here, right? And that's how I explain Bitcoin to people is, and people like normies, like, I don't get it. What's the value? What? And I'm like, well, it's the first form of property that people with guns can't steal. And their brains just like, they're like, and so how about what? And so, it's again, kind of like voluntarism. It's very simple, but
Yeah.
it takes a lot to get to that point. But that really is, I've always felt too, this is my revolution, our revolution. This is how we defend ourselves, from this tyranny is with crypto and building this financial system that they can't control. None of us can control it.
That's right.
It's egalitarian, right? I think I'm going on a bunch of tangents. I forget do you want to jump? What one of you guys want to jump in there?
Well,
Sorry.
I just say, like, that was a wake up call that the Canadian, because I'm American and I'm just like looking like, what the hell's going on up there? You know what I mean? That's Canada, and that was a huge wake up call, and it just goes to show the importance of what we're building here. This is not a joke, because Matt, you alluded to earlier, it's like when you speak about it out loud, it almost sounds romanticized or exaggerated or silly. You know what I mean? How could this possibly be true? But it is. And that's something I'm glad you said, because I say that all the time, because, I'm a public official. I was pretty busy during the politics time. I got to see the inner workings, and I tell people all the time, it's bad, you guys. Like, you think you understand how bad it is? You do not. You do not understand how bad this is. And this is why I have endless motivation, because when you see the internal workings, you just know what stage we're at, and it's up to us. It's up to us. And it's not up to me. It's not up to Kenton. It's up to all of us. We have to work together. We have to come together. And that's why I'm just so thankful for your time in joining us today, because there is no point in history where we all have to come together other than now. Like it's really exigent. Like we have to do this now, and that's why, like, on THORChain round, a small debate, and I think it's pretty much won on. But he's like, should we add XMR? I'm like, well, of course, or our privacy coins, right? In general, like, yes, we need to. Like, we don't have, like, if not now, then when? You know what I mean? This is our window, right? And I don't want to get too political. I am extremely disappointed with the Trump, presidency so far. But I am just so thankful, at least, that we have a small window where blockchain is sort of okay for now. I think this is very happenstance, but this is our window. This is it. We have to get this. We have to make this technology decentralized. You mentioned earlier about, single points of error, like you're hosting your own website. Like THORChain is currently, what's the acronym, Kenton? Like IFPS or something? Like, there's too many acronyms in this world. But
yeah, interplanetary file system. Yeah,
thank
IPFS.
you so much. Yeah, so we're going to that. Like, we're trying to think of everything from the first principles of how we can liberate the world, right? And that is our mandate. So, yeah, man, I love it. I love what you're doing. You have a website. Can I bring it up on the screen for people to see?
Yeah, of course. Just
Perfect.
brave the new .world. But I think I actually got that right. Maybe it's interplanetary file share. Now I can't remember. It's been so
Well,
long since I thought
in
about
the medical
IPFS.
industry, I had so many acronyms, and now
Yeah.
and I've done a lot. Dude,
Dude.
my brain's broken. No more acronyms for me. I can't do
Maybe
anymore.
the peanut gallery can tell us. Somebody,
Yeah.
Max, can you go Google it for us? Put it in the chat.
Yeah. So here we go. And man, I've been looking at your website, and you talk about all the things. Man, I'll try and go a little slower here. I have a bit of but yeah, man. And I love what you're saying. You're on topic, Matt, 100%. But I'll kick it to you if you want to say anything about your website.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to cover the things that. So the big thing for me is like, you just look at the narratives. I mean, I was libertarian a long time before COVID ever hit. Living through the terror wars and September 11th, and then what transpired after that with invasion of Iraq and lying us into war and all that stuff. You start to like get, and then but COVID just really solidified it for me. It's like their narratives aren't. The government and the connected and the elite, they're really just trying to sell us on something. And
Dude, that was exactly it. I'm like, what is this? Is a pump and dump. It was a classic pump and dump.
That's right.
And sorry, I interrupt your thought, but keep going.
No, it is. And so with what I'm doing now, I'm really just trying to examine what the narratives are, like what they're trying to tell, what this power structure, the superstructure, because it's international. Sounds conspiratorial again, but you live through the Epstein stuff and you see he was just a connection. He was a nexus point between all these connected parties. All these spheres of influence have to work together. Think of it this way. Here's my tangent. You have Elon Musk, richest man in the world. He has a huge sphere of influence, right? Because of all the industry, all the people that he employs. He's dealing with different countries through X, through SpaceX, whatever. His sphere of influence is very big. Well, there are other billionaires out there or large entities like BlackRock or whatever. They have spheres of influence as well, and they butt up against each other. Sometimes adversarial, sometimes collaborative. And so you need people like Epstein who will help, make those things work. And that's military industrial complex, that's security infrastructure or state like like CIAs and Mossad and all that. That's like NGOs, nonprofits and things. That's for-profit companies, and that's individuals. All these power structures. They're vying for their own influence around the world, and you have people in place that act as the glue, that get them in touch with the right people, that start partnerships, et cetera, so that they can get things done. That's like a kind way of saying what this is. And he's not the only one. There's many other out there. Like who's taking over for Epstein should be the question in everybody's mind. But anyway, so this is all like this superstructure has not they're different spheres of influence, but they each have their own narratives that they want to sell us on. That will gain them more money, gain them more influence, power, whatever it is. And the U.S. government is the same way. So is the CIA and all the the kind of the security state, that apparatus. They're all trying to sell us on this thing so that we're okay with the moves that they make. And so, long story short, is what I'm trying to do is like look at what those narratives are, unpack them, and try to decipher what is actually going on, who is actually benefiting, where the money is going, where the influence and power are going. So I take, and we take topics every week. We just look at what kind of the main things that are kind of going on in the world, a lot, very U.S. centric, but in the world, and talk about them and try to peel back that onion. A lot has been, Epstein, and then into the war stuff that's going on in Iran. But then the most recent thing is really there's a lot of war happening in the Western Hemisphere, things that we're just not really talking a lot about, and just trying to break that down and think about them, just so that we are more aware of what's actually going on, not just the fucking narrative that they're giving us. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Everyone wants to know. Like, there's a lot of people who people who watch this, like, they have children, they have a job, they're just trying to make it, right? But they understand what's going on, and they want to fight back somehow. They just don't know how to do that, right? So, I just want to kick it to you, Matt, because you are saying all the things. I'm so thankful for you. I'm so thankful for individuals like you. I really appreciate everything that you do, because you're speaking out, you're saying what needs to be said, and I got to be honest, it takes bravery to do that. You are a good man. again. So thank you. But if someone wants to support you, it's bravethenew.world. Bravethenew.world. Do you have like a subscription service, or maybe talk about how people can support you?
No, it's just all free for now. I started this publication in January in the podcast. So I do a weekly podcast. I also will do shorter form videos. And the best way to support me is just to follow me on X, just at Matthew Carano on X. Just follow me there. I do, I'll do 8 to 10 minute videos on a topic as well. Those are mostly just posts. I'll post that on YouTube as well. You could follow Brave the New, at Brave the New World on YouTube as well. But either way, all my content goes onto Twitter. I'll do short videos like that, or then I'll do long form podcasts, and then I'll do some writing, and I'll publish either on X or on the website. Publishing always goes onto the website, so bravethenew.world. But the best way to support me is just to follow along on Twitter. I mean, I don't. Yeah, the money thing isn't really. Sometime I'll probably have either some sort of subscription or advertisers, but that isn't really something that I'm worried about right now. I'm just trying to get the content out there, and I think I told you before we started. It's like I stopped working for other people. When you work for other people, you worry about your reputation hurting them in some way because, like I own the things that I say, but that doesn't mean my employers do. But right now I'm feeling very free to speak my mind. So,
and you are doing just that. And so you have no subscription service. So how they help you is share your content, go learn about, go to the website, guys, this stuff has to proliferate in society. I think people are now, just by the state of the world, what's going on with Iran and everything else you talked about, they're taking a step back, a lot of the normies, and they're saying, whoa, what's going on here? And you got to let them know, guys. So please help promote someone like Matt who works really hard, goes out of his way. Because I see you, man. You're out there.
I'm out there.
You're out there. I love it, dude. Kenton, I'll kick it to you. I know I've been talking for a little bit.
I was Matt, just to kind of prepare for our podcast here. I did a little bit of Googling, and I came across something. Did you uncover a blackmail ring in DC or something like this?
That was not me. I wish I did.
Okay, so this is just some weird artifact of an example of why AI doesn't work then. So there's nothing there. Okay.
Oh, that'd be so
cool. Cured cancer too.
I cured cancer. Right. I got us off planet. Stop the blackmail ring.
He is actually Elon Musk, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that.
Well, so if another question then. I assume you're familiar with Eric Voorhees.
He was the one that showed me Bitcoin.
Okay, there you go. And so I assume you're familiar with Venice, his AI project.
Yeah, I use it.
Okay,
it's not the only one that I use, but I really support Venice. I've been using it since he launched it, I think.
Okay, cool. That's what I'm curious of. Like, I assume you have the concerns about AI, but I assume you still use it. So I'm curious which ones you use. How do you use it? Do you have it locally? Like, and can you kind of walk through that whole thing? Because like, I'm still using ChatGPT and Claude. So kind of help me out here, man. Help me get off it.
There's no good answer right now, which is the problem. So Venice is a great answer. I use Venice if anytime I'm worried about like privacy and stuff. It does a lot of like general tasks for me and things that I just want to keep to myself. But it can't. So you can use Venice because Venice allows you to use pretty much any different model, but you're just paying the AI prices for it, the API prices for it. So it acts at like there's inherent sort of free models that there's some privacy and not, and there's image generation and video and all sorts of stuff. It's really great. Anybody who's looking for like general all-purpose AI, use Venice because it's private and you're supporting a right-on person too. Like Eric Voorhees is philosophically right on. So I would highly recommend people use Venice. But I got OpenClaw is like really the big thing in AI right now. And so I'm doing a lot with OpenClaw and Claude because it's really the best partner that I've found so far with those two. And that's what I'm developing technology with right now. Like my app, which will come out in hopefully very soon. I'm getting very close on that, but that's what I'm doing a lot with. The capabilities that OpenClaw allows us to do is completely revolutionary. It basically gives OpenClaw root access to your machine, which is why I have it on a separate machine. I do not have it on my local machine. It lives on its own machine. It's walled off, but it allows you to put machines in place where it can do a number of tasks at once for you without stopping. It gives you so much capability that we just didn't have before. So it's not security conscious. I wouldn't, Claude. I like working with Claude, but there's some problems with that company, just like there is with ChatGPT, and OpenAI's got NSA on their board, and there's problems with all these companies. But until we get to the point of sovereign infrastructure where you can actually have sovereign AI, we're kind of in a bind if we want to use these tools. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm using a lot of I'm just putting a lot of machines in place with OpenClaw and developing my app. I'm not a developer. I don't have that skill set, but I am I'm a good prompter, and I've built apps before with AI. So I'm working my way through that currently. But yeah, the problem is really there is not a good solution. Use Venice. With Venice, if you want to use really kick-ass models, you pay the API price for it, where Claude Max gives you a lot of tokens for $200 a month. So it's hard to. If I were using API cost to develop my app, I'd be paying thousands of dollars per month to do what I'm doing right now. So it's prohibitive. But that's the technology we need to aim for is sovereign infrastructure, so we can host our own. That's the other thing, is you can right now, there's been a run. So if you can run a local model on your machine, if your machine is powerful enough. So with a Mac Studio 512 gigabyte, completely souped up Mac Studio, which they're not selling anymore, by the way, it's gone. You could run Kimi, I think it was 2.6 or something, which was really strong model local on your machine. The trade-off is right now, if you don't have that type of machine, you don't have that type of hardware firepower, then you're running just an inferior, still a good model. But if you're trying to do something super advanced, like building a production grade app, you're just not going to be able to do it if you're a non-developer, if you can't do some of that work yourself. So there's just trade-offs all around right now. But the models keep getting better. Like the locally hosting models keep getting smaller and smaller, and so pretty soon we'll at least have the power on infrastructure that we can purchase as individuals to be able to run local models, which will certainly help a lot. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. I use Venice for my individual stuff, but when I'm coding, not me coding, but coding, I'm using OpenClaw and Claude 4.6.
Yeah, I've been using mostly Claude lately, and I mean, to be honest, I'm not the stuff I'm doing isn't it can be as public as you want. I'm not doing anything private, so that's why I'm just using it. It's not a big deal for me. You're talking about having your own AI hosted locally. I'm curious what you think of this. If you've heard this theory before, that basically people like kids, nowadays, kids are getting younger and younger when they get their first cell phone, right?
Yeah.
And so eventually kids are going to have their own local AI agent that's going to kind of like your email address. You're going to have this AI agent for your whole life. It's going to grow up with you.
Yes.
It's going to have all your data, and your own personal AI agent is going to be trained on your whole life's worth of data that you're going to have into an adult. And then do you believe that? Do you think that's the way we're going? Is there good or is there bad? What are your thoughts on all that?
Well, let's get to the optimistic side of things right now, because that's exactly what's going to happen. Which is why it's so important that it's on sovereign technology, so sovereign hardware, and it is an AI that assumes our values, because that's exactly what's going to happen. Is you're going to have your AI that is your partner in life, not your human partner, your wife, your spouse, whatever. That's in your family. That's obviously going to have primacy and be most important forever. But an extension of you on hardware that you can trust, that you provably know shares your values, that is helping you achieve. Is such a beautiful vision. That's how we coordinate and solve. The sky's the limit with that. Just think about your health advocate knows everything about you from a health standpoint. You don't ever have to be worried about the medical establishment anymore. If people weren't questioning the medical establishment before COVID, I'm sure everybody is questioning it now. Were these guys real? Like, I know so many. I had to leave a doctor because they. Yeah, I mean, obviously they were not on my side, and so I had to seek out a doctor who was on my side. Like, I want to find medical practitioners who share my values, but even if they don't, I've got my AI who knows everything about me, who is on my side, trying to looking out for me, looking out for my health and my longevity, who can decipher all that shit for me, who can help me figure out what the best nutrition for me is based on my physiology, the best exercise for me, the best learning tools and style for me so that I can grow and achieve. Vocationally help me, just be my partner in crime through life. That's such a it's just such a beautiful thought, because we can just be much larger now. You know what I mean? We can interact and we can create to a much like, if you love consciousness and creative energy, this like spark that humanity has that nothing else that we know of has. Maybe it's the only one. I don't think so. I think there are other entities in the universe that have this too, but for all we know, it's like this creative spark that makes us, like, our soul, whatever it is, that makes us human, that makes us different than anything else that we know of. If you want to extend that, then AI, your own sovereign AI that grows with you, that knows everything about you, that shares your values, is the way to extend that further into the universe. So I believe that and want that badly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think that's going to happen. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Danny.
You're fine. It reminds me of, I think the great thing about AI, because we're going to need an AI, I think by necessity, to safely interface with the world, which
That's
is
right.
just AI's everywhere, right? But I think you're right. I think the empowerment, the level up that AI is going to get, especially with children at a young age. I mean, I just remember going to, college, and I had to go learn about a subject, and I'm old enough where I had to go to the library and find a
Yeah.
specific book and the Dewey Decimal System, and I'm looking around, and that bandwidth between me trying to learn something and me getting that knowledge is so slow, right? But with AI tooling, based on the sovereign principles that you've spoken before, this is incredible. It's going to
Yeah.
allow kids, like, really young, to just learn so much more quickly. Those who are determined, of course. I mean, you still need that spark of curiosity. I think, honestly, some people are just born with it. But I try to keep white pill. I am a white pill guy. We get
Yeah.
to that point, I think humanity is going to the next step, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm curious, Matt. I'm assuming Joel with
Yeah.
Dash community. Yeah. He's part of the same, in New Hampshire. He's going to BTC Las Vegas. I was curious, are you going to be able to go to BTC Las Vegas? Do you know if that's in your cards?
It's not. I mean, I hadn't even thought about it. I'm sort of
Okay.
disconnected from crypto a little bit since I left my last gig in December. I hadn't really thought much about it. So no, I hadn't planned on going. When is that happening?
It's April. Was it April 27th, 28th, 29th? I believe that's the thing. But anyway, we're having a THORChain meeting, but it's really whoever wants to show up. Joel's going to be there. I just wanted to extend a personal invitation to you.
Thank you.
One of the thing is, what's great when you find someone online that just gets it. You know what I mean? Like, you guys were going, like, it started great, right? And it's still going great. But I really believe, and I tell people, like, we have to establish that human connection. I think it's so important to actually meet people in real life, because what we're all collectively trying to do here is so important, right? So I just hope, if you can't make it, no big deal, but I hope one day to meet you in person, because you are an absolute rock star, man. And again, I'm not trying to kiss your ass. I just legitimately, like, thank you very much for everything you do. And it's just, it's so easy. Because these conversations, I can't have them with the average people in my life, right? This is my escapism. It's like talking to someone like who gets it, who understands what's going on. You're there with me, right? I'm not trying to make myself sound like a super genius, but there's this knowledge gap that there with so many other people. So yeah, man, if you go, doors open, man, and bring as many friends as you want, because I want to meet them too.
Thank you. That's kind. Yeah, most of my, unfortunately, most of the people that my connections are in New Hampshire. I mean, my wife is I have a Brazilian wife, and she survived with me. We met in California and I was out there for 4 years, but New Hampshire's always been home, as I mentioned. But we spent about a decade there, and it just got to a point where she's like, "This winter, Matt," and I'm like, "I know." So we came down south, but my heart is
Woohoo,
in New
come
Hampshire.
on. You got to
I know.
experience the Canadian winter.
Oh,
But
well, I mean, I've visited Canada a lot. From New Hampshire, Montreal's just a short hop. I used to drive
yeah,
there, not
fair enough.
often, but often enough. I've probably been to Montreal 10 times. I've been to Toronto a few times. People
Yeah.
shit on Toronto, but I like Toronto.
Well, it's just honestly, it's not. It's like the most un-Canadian city.
Yeah.
And it's real. No, I don't know. It's got a weird vibe to it. I don't know how to explain it.
I have Quebec family too, but I've never gone up to Quebec City as much as I really want to, but I for some reason never got up there.
I haven't spent much time there, but I will say for Toronto, they got a great restaurant scene. The food
Yeah.
scene there is great. Yeah, we shouldn't. Yeah, every city's got its thing,
It
but
does.
yeah, the winters. It's true. They
It's tough.
it just wear, especially if she's from Brazil. Like it's just it's fine to visit winter, but be stuck in it for 6 months. It's just like, man.
It was the light for me. Like it would come, we would be in November, and then everything's just New Hampshire's beautiful. Like we had a place
Yeah.
near the seacoast, but still in the woods. I butt up against UNH College Woods, so there were hundreds of acres behind my house, and we had trails going through there. So even in the winter, I would walk through. But come November, all the leaves are down, and then the sun is just so low in the sky. I started to get pretty depressed about
Yeah.
shit, and I gotta
Yeah.
tell you, the sun makes a huge difference. A
Oh, yeah.
huge difference.
Oh, big time. I moved to Cayman. I stopped getting colds. I don't get sick anymore. In Canada, I used to get sick every 3 months. I get a cold, be sick.
Yeah.
I think it's just because you're sun deprived. Right? You don't get any vitamin D, right?
Are you in the Caymans now? That's where you are? Or do you know?
Yeah, I
You
live
don't
in
have to
Cayman
tell me.
Islands.
Oh, good for you. All
Yeah.
right. See, you know.
Yeah.
Know
Well,
what
it's
I'm
funny.
talking
I'm
about.
actually toying with moving back to the U.S. It's just small. It's too small.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you meant it's funny because the liberty movement in the 90s and 2000s was all about getting out of the U.S. and that, it's going to, the empire on the verge of collapse and all this kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. After these last few years since COVID, I'm like, I actually think the U.S. is the place to be. And you mentioned the 350 million guns, like it's a good thing. A lot of these other countries they've shown their cards, and Cayman is one of them. Cayman locked down really hard,
Ugh.
like Melbourne, Australia locked down, and it was only for like a few months, but doesn't. It was a few months too many, right? It's not one day too many, right? So, just I came here thinking this is going to be kind of my place. The rest of the world can burn and collapse, and I'll be fine here on this, island. But no, it's pretty Western here, pretty Westernized, and uh, the government and populace showed their colors. So I'm kind of looking for a more freer place to spend more of my time.
The thing about like the heritage of America is that it's a lot of settlers who were entrepreneurial. So like if you just think, I mean, half my family comes from Italy, the other half comes from France and Canada, by way of Canada and Ireland. And it's like all these people were poor, and they were looking for a better life, and they took a huge risk to to sail across the fucking ocean to come here, and so you got a lot of that lineage too, and it just is, and even if that's not the story of a family in America, you still have like there's this spirit that just is part of our culture now of being entrepreneurial and independent, and during COVID, as much as like the state tried so hard, the Biden administration tried so hard, but I think a lesser culture would not have survived that. But I mean, they tried everything, like, and just it didn't work. Like we just by year one, by like April, May, June of 2020, most people were like, this doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it gave me a lot of hope. But they're going to try again. I mean, they're gonna keep trying. So
yeah,
Let's
totally.
go, bring it on. You know what I mean?
Dude,
That's what
it's
I say.
like I've never I've always had a, I don't know, grudge or hate against doctors. Um, well before COVID, and COVID was just the final puzzle piece for me. I can't stand doctors, and
Well, there was,
like,
sorry, go ahead.
pardon?
Well, I was gonna say there was a bifurcation there, right?
Yep.
Because I was in the medical
Well,
industry at the time, and the thing is, they promoted only the doctors that went with the state's narrative,
yeah,
and so it's a lot of distortion. Like they had the nurses dancing and stuff like that. Like
yeah,
I don't even know who the hell these people were. Like there was no one because I was in the medical industry when it was happening, and dude, we were like, what? This doesn't even make sense. Like wearing a mask that's not like an N95. It's like, well, that doesn't protect you, even if it is an N95, right? Like viruses, they love the mucosal membranes of your fucking sclera in your eyes. This isn't stupid. This is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Or those little paper masks. It's like if a virus is so small that if you ever seen like those cargo nets in videos of World War II where like soldiers are climbing down, like imagine that's the fabrics of the mask, right? And a virus is like a tiny little like golf ball, right?
yeah,
It just goes right through. You
yeah.
see what I'm saying?
You just watch people in the winter, and you just
Yeah.
see all the vapors going through. It's like,
Exactly.
and you're like, that
That's
one
water
picture, and you're like,
vapor.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
But
so
so where I was going with it is like I feel like the doctors as we know them, understand them today, are going to be the first profession disrupted with AI, and it can't happen fast enough for me. Because these get rid of the idiot doctors and make room for the actual decent ones to
100%.
flourish.
Uh,
Um, okay, Matt. So I asked you about growing up with your own personal AI, and you said you have an optimistic and a pessimistic take, and you gave us your optimistic take. What's your pessimistic take about it?
The pessimistic take is just that it leads to enslavement, of course. So, if you don't have sovereign infrastructure that allows you to have sovereign AI, then the value system of that AI is someone else's. It can't ever be exclusively yours because you can't prove that it is. So it's enslavement. It's just it's false reality. It's serving entities that are not the individual, and it's almost like indescribable how bad that can get because it's just your life is no longer your own. Imagine you have an AI teacher the public school version of the AI teacher. Well, they're gonna teach you a narrative, and how do you? It's gonna be the narrative that supports the whoever's in power. So the
right.
power infrastructure, which is the state. So let's just say like the U.S. government teaches right now in public schools, in government schools, a certain narrative that if you scrutinize it is a perspective, but it's not the only perspective, and there's a lot that's not true in it. So with an AI teacher, you can infuse the same thing. That to medical decisions, to maybe it's your AI in a robot and it prevents you from doing stuff. Like it prevents you from it prevents you from going someplace. Like if you don't I don't know, like it's the same problems with like the CBDC, right? It's or any sort of government controlled stable coin or whatever token. They could just say, okay, well, if you don't maintain a certain weight, or if you didn't get this shot, we're turning your money off, or you can only eat a certain amount of protein or steak or whatever. No, you have to eat bugs or whatever. Like they could just enforce that, and you can do now. Think of that with a robot. Like yes, it can enforce your movement too. It's like you're now imprisoned in your house. Like if a lockdown happens again, some sort of scare happens, you could just manufacture. It could be real or not. It could be a real like terrorist attack or a false flag. It doesn't matter what it is, but it can just trap you in your homes. I remember I was in New England when the Boston marathon bombing happened, and the police like shut down parts of the suburbs of Massachusetts, like stay at home orders and shit. And it's like in one way you're like, okay, well you should go find the bombers, but another way it's like, well, the government has that power. Imagine, every family has a robot, and it's not sovereign to them. It's sovereign to the state or some other entity. Like, well, if you don't want to be locked down, it doesn't really matter. You're not going to overpower that robot. So that's a dystopian view, and I that's what we're fighting against. Like we can't have that happen. Like we
Yes.
cannot.
Do you think the people building these robots, building the AI, do you think they're consciously planning like to enslave humanity?
Yes, some are.
Or
Yes.
they're like they are idealistic. They think this is great technology. Yeah, it could be used for bad, but that's not our intention. We want to use it for good. But then somebody else can come along and usurp it, get involved, and then start using it for bad? Or do you think the bad people are there already and they're
Sorry. I was going to say,
uh,
Denny, you should answer this first because you
It's
definitely
100%. 100%. There is an element within our own government, and I'm gonna back up a little bit, Matt. I'm so glad how you mentioned kids because I serve on a school board, okay, and that's why I joined the school board because I saw the writing on the wall. They're going to go after children,
Yeah.
And I'm a board member on a school board, and I keep that bullshit away from them as best as I can, right? Because if you get the next generation, then the country falls. It's a demographics game and it's an information game, and that is what they're doing. Yes, 100%. There is an element. These foreign lobbying groups, we can get into that if you want. They are actively developing AI to subjugate the world. 100%. It's to push their own propaganda, to distort history. They want to modify everything that gives them leverages of power. This is the big arms race. That's not guns, it's AI. And we're in the middle of that right now. But there are also people like Matt and you, Kenton, and many others, and Eric Voorhees that are working against that. And so this is the great fight of our species. It's a weird thing. Like I always feel like I'm slightly narcissistic when I say this grandiose statement. Like this is the fight of our species because this isn't the AI blockchain tech. It's a new primitive that has never existed before ever. And so everyone who's alive right now, like this is your struggle. This is your fight. This is the battle that will determine where humanity goes from here. And if you can't take a personal investment in that, if you can't invest some time to help fight this battle, then I don't know what you're doing. I mean, think not only of yourself, but your friends, your family, your kids, the future that they're going to have, your kids' kids. This is it. This is the battle, 100%. I'll kick it to you, Matt.
Yeah, but and I agree. And on the other end of it too, like if the technology is used for human prosperity, then the sky's the limit in terms of what we can achieve. Because all of this technology unwinds all the negative aspects of the state too. Like sovereign money starves the state. Sovereign AI means we don't have to go learn from a source that we don't trust. Sovereign robot means we have defensive force against aggressive force. Like these are all the things that unwind the state. I actually have I've thought a lot about this. Like I don't, as much of an anarchist as I am, like I understand why the state happened. Like at some point in human history, you need it. Like as humanity went from like hunter gatherer to having settlements to their spheres of influence, and who they knew kept enlarging. You needed a way to figure out whether, if you're interacting with people that aren't your family or your immediate friends, you needed a way to figure out whether or not they were going to kill you, whether or not you could do business with them. Are they going to poison me? Are they, I want to trade my cattle for this whatever, this food, or milk for food or whatever. How do I know this guy's not going to kill me? So you did need, and the only technology that we had at the time was centralized. It was, okay, well, let's get authorities in place who can vouch for these people. So government in general is like this big vouching, this big like reputational thing. So I look at it as like, that's what they had at the time. And the centralized way of doing it was a more efficient way of doing it. It was the way that they could do it at the time. And it gave peace of mind to people too. It's like, oh, okay, I've got some entity looking out for me so I could just take care of my family, make sure my family's fed and everything's good. But then, of course, there's all the negative consequences of that. And even, the U.S. government under the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, when it was first enacted, was the best that it could ever be, because power begets power. It's just going to become captured. The people attracted to that power are going to be the psychopaths. And over time, they're going to take over and just expand, which is where we are today. But what unwinds all that is this technology. So all the technology that they can use to enslave us is the same technology that we can use to beat them, to unwind the state. And that's how I think it happens. Like I'm not I'm a hardcore voluntarist. I'm a hardcore anarchist. But I don't think that protest works, and I don't think like armed resistance is really gonna work.
It's never worked.
The way that we do it is we create a better system that people opt into, and it just makes the state obsolescent. And these are the technologies that will do it. So I just want to respond to that. And then Ken, just to answer your question, I think I don't trust the value system of Sam Altman or OpenAI. Don't trust the value system of, I'd like to work with Claude, but I don't trust their value systems. And Elon Musk, he was very concerned about AI for a long time, but now he built his own, because he knew he needed to infuse his own morality into it, because of course, he trusts himself more than he trusts anybody else. I don't trust Elon's. I mean, I don't, you know, forever trust Elon's value system. I trust it to a certain extent to do certain things, but not like with my life. So
Well, that's the thing with Elon. Like, 'cause he is right that AI is going to be taught to be maximally curious.
yeah,
That I agree with that completely. That is how we build a neutral AI that will embrace humanity. So like, he says like a lot of like really smart things that I really agree with. But then I'm like, wait a second. If he owns all these, you know what I mean? Then I start
yeah.
you start peeling back the onion. And I'm like, well, just because he's saying what I want to hear doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna have the good outcome.
It's just, it's the same thing I said before. If something can be captured, it will be captured. It's
Yeah.
just the way that it is.
Yeah.
So, we can't try, like, I cannot infuse my value system into Grok. I cannot do it. I can't say, no, you will, whenever you interact with me or on my behalf, you will know that I believe in the non-aggression principle, and here is the proof of the non-aggression principle. And so every time we're out in the world and we're interacting together, you have to keep that in mind. It won't listen to, I mean, to a certain extent, like it could create content with that as like my profile, but it's not going to own it as its own primitive. So I think there are definitely some out there who are like, the world is going to go this way. I think it's more like the world's going to go this way and we need to infuse our values into it because we don't trust the other people's values. But there's like Sam Altman's values sucks. Like just like I wouldn't want any of the big, like the Silicon Valley's done a lot for humanity in terms of technology, but from a philosophical standpoint, they've been found wanting. Just look at what social media did during the lockdowns. It's like until Elon bought X, you had every single platform was censoring anybody who was telling the truth. So
It's always blown my mind how like big tech, these smart developers in San Francisco, how they're like how are they not voluntarists as well? A lot of them are very political. Like they're quite, some of them are quite fascist. And it's like I don't in my mind, Austrian economics is it's just simple logic. And you'd think a developer who writes code, you have to be a very logical person to be able to write computer code. I don't understand why they don't get it. And back to AI being, if you can have an AI that is maximally curious, I assume they would discover Austrian economics and would just be like, oh yeah, this obviously works. This makes sense. Here's a historical record. Like this is the right way. We don't even necessarily have to tell it about that. It'll just be like, yeah, of course. Just like me and you meeting each other for the first time. Like you found it on your own. I found it on my own. And we're like, yeah, of course that's the answer. And I guess I'm assuming we're right, which is maybe arrogant to say, but
you are both right 100%. So says I.
I think the problem is smart people think they can control everything. And unfortunately, when you look at Austrian economics or capitalism or voluntarism, like it can be messy. It's the best way because it's the freest way. It's the way that, two ways of goods and services, as I mentioned before. It's like you can steal from people and give to other people, or you can let markets happen and you voluntarily interact. Those are the two ways to distribute goods and services. And so all supreme AI might think, well, I can control all the market. I can understand all the market signals and I can control it all. And maybe they might do a more efficient job than capitalism or markets would do, but at the cost of enslavement. I think that a lot of the smart Silicon Valley people, and even Vitalik, like honestly, like I think they kind of fall into the same thing where they think that they're smart enough to be able to control some things that they really can't. And they don't understand the cost, or they do understand the cost, but it doesn't matter to them as much. I mean, I have the same issues with like where the Ethereum Foundation went, and I would have, because early Bitcoin were all the voluntarists. They were all the people who believed in self-sovereignty, and then Ethereum really introduced a movement that was that went past that. They didn't share those same ideals. I love Ethereum; like it's the best coordinating tool that we have right now. I mean. But I don't love where it's gone, and I think that's I think it's an issue, and so it's just another example to me of whose value systems do I want to trust?
I'm gonna add a little to that.
Yeah.
So speaking about Ethereum a little bit, I'm sure you've noticed that some, USDT, USDC wallets have been frozen with their stablecoin, their balances. Could you give your opinion on that? Could you break that down a little bit?
I just don't think you can, like, you have to know you have to know what you're getting into. It's like, if you know that a tool can be censored, then you're taking that risk. So you're risking, you're risking using, is it for convenience. You're using a certain tool, but you have to know the other risk, that if it can be censored, it will be censored. So I think, as long as everybody's aware of that, then entrepreneurs are free to make those tools. I would prefer to have tools that cannot be censored and that I'm not subject to. But, you know, I mean, like, there's a philosophy there. If you want to be philosophically consistent, then you can't have you can't have, if you want sovereignty, you can't allow it to be censored. That's
Yeah.
just the way it is.
Something I think about is I'm coming to the opinion that I think, because a lot of people want to make an algorithmic stablecoin, right? That's decentralized, permissionless. But I'm becoming to the opinion, I think, maybe I'm wrong, that it might not be possible because the first principles are incorrect because it's based on fiat, which is, they
That's
print
right.
it into existence. There is no strong foundation for that. Maybe you can have an over collateralized stablecoin, something like that. That might have something there, but I'm just I'm wondering if that it's difficult to explain my thought process here, but the stable coins themselves are kind of the issue. And um, what would you like if you had a magic wand, Matt? Right? What would you like to see blockchain tech do if you could just wave this magic wand and change these underlying first principles, these conditions? What would you like to see happen maybe overnight
I
to
mean,
make things better?
yeah, I think, we wouldn't price things in dollars. It's like,
Right.
we're giving up ground there when we price things in dollars, which means stable coin. And I understand, like, it's a good way to onboard people into the technology, but it sets the wrong precedent from a philosophical standpoint. I have a lot of problems where Bitcoin is gone. It's not digital cash, like what was promised in the white paper. Like, Satoshi's white paper is like
Right.
one of the most, like, just elegant things. Like, to create this thing is like genius. It's crazy. It's makes me emotional. It's like reading the Declaration of Independence. You're like, fuck yeah. And it's not that anymore, but still, it's probably the most decentralized. I mean, probably the most sovereign of the block of the crypto right now. I imagine. I don't know. So I would not want to price. I just would be, but it's all this shit's a trade off. It's like, what do you want? Do you want sovereignty, or do you want to onboard people? Do you want number go up?
Yeah. Right.
And I can understand the argument for both. A lot of people got into Ethereum because they're like because they wanted the money, which is fine. I understand that. It's not why I got into it. Doesn't mean that everybody needs to follow my lead, but in yeah, I say you're giving up ground if you're pricing things in dollars. And if you have stable coins, we need to break away from that system. So, but that is a long-term fight to do.
For sure. For sure. Kenton, I'll kick it to you if you got something you want to add to this.
Yeah, I think everyone's obsession. This is my opinion. I just kind of way I see it going is I feel like it's just kind of like perpetual motion, like this idea that we can have a stable coin that's uncensorable. It's like I don't think it's possible. Um, and like it's kind of like breaking up with your girlfriend and still wanting to sleep together. Like you just okay, it might work for a while, but it doesn't work. You have to cut it off, right? And so if we want to break up with fiat money, we have to cut it off, right? We just have to move forward. And we have our algorithmic currency. It's called Bitcoin, right? And like Matt said, we gotta just start pricing stuff in Bitcoin, right? And like so what's the tipping point? What's gonna get us there? So I didn't have time to read that. Um,
Oh, sorry.
but um, in my mind, the obsession with this stablecoin is like it just holds us back from the real Bitcoin standard. And kind of like again, using a girlfriend analogy, find you're broken up, you're still fooling around. All it's doing is preventing you from finding your future wife, right? Finding that one that you do want to spend time with, right? So we got to break up with the dollar. And this is what's cool with Joelle, you mentioned earlier from Dash. She's been living on crypto apparently now for 10 years,
Since I've known him,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So like we got to become Joelle's, right? That's how we're going to like get things going.
That's a man
One
who's
thing,
lived his values for sure.
Yes.
He's done a great
100%,
job.
mad
Yep.
respect. Yeah. Like
Yep.
I can acknowledge I'm a bit of a hypocrite on a lot of things like this.
Yes.
Um, but, um, what does it say? I do think if I can ask your question, Danny, what would Kenton change overnight? One thing,
Go for
we
it,
got to
brother.
start pricing Bitcoin in Sats. We got to get away from this one Bitcoin is 100 or 70 grand, whatever, and start pricing it in Sats because it's true with the average person. They hear $70,000 Bitcoin. Oh, that's expensive,
Right.
right? And there's a reason penny stocks are penny stocks, and they have these like really high share amounts and low share prices because it gets the average person and more normie, the more kind of lowest common denominator amongst us interested because they see it's cheap. And so I think we got to start getting we got to start pricing Bitcoin in Sats. And that'll help further with adoption and get more people into it.
Yeah, and I think so. How do you get there, right? Because we want to do that, but for me, that transaction happens when we build something that ordinary person can use, right? And this is why I'm excited about technologies they're building on top of like Bior Labs, Mocha, where you can actually buy goods and services by using decentralized liquidity pools as that medium of exchange. You can have the value in dollars, you can have in Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever. But the point is, you can use whatever currency you have on you to buy things, of course, asset that is supported. But when someone can go into a store, buy a good and service with whatever they want, whatever token they have on their phone, I think that's when. Now, what we all rally around, as in maybe it's Sats, maybe it's something I don't know, but I think we have to build utility here. We have a system. Our system's better now. It has to be useful, and once we do there, I think it all flows from there.
This actually kind of dovetails to the question I want to ask you, Matt. Is that I'm curious. There's all this talk about AI agents using crypto, and I'm thinking, I'm wondering, what if that's the real push? That we get kind of mass
Yeah.
adoption in crypto. Isn't it actually humans, but it's actually the bots, the AIs. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that about AI using crypto yeah, what you think.
Yeah, it's the way. I mean, it's the only thing that's frictionless enough to be able to work that fast. So I mean, it's the currency of AI for sure. Which one? Who knows? But that will absolutely start to happen, which is again a reason why sovereign technology is so important, because you need to know that your AI is only going to do business with other AIs of a certain caliber who has a certain value system or does certain things that you can trust. So again, that's going to make you want to be able to block your AI from doing transactions on your behalf with another AI that's adversarial to you. So that's going to be so important. But for sure, crypto was, I mean, like it's made for this type of work to be done. Yeah, like the picture that tickles me is like an autonomous Tesla gets to do its own ride share, get paid in crypto, and goes and orders its part repairs when it needs to on its own, and just gets to have this existence sort of serving humanity on its own. And it takes AI and it takes crypto to make all that happen and work. But yeah, I think that you're going to
And
start seeing agent to agent stuff. That's going to like very soon. It's going to happen. It's going to be ubiquitous.
And that would help keep AI and these bots in check because they can't print crypto out of thin air,
It's true.
right? They're going to have limited Bitcoin, whatever, and they have to access. They can only acquire it voluntarily through trade, right? So when we don't have this unlimited money printer, funding these bots, that should help. At least if an AI is going, if they do go rogue, they're going to run out of resources pretty fast, I would think, in theory, because there's only so much crypto they have to spend.
That's right.
So yeah.
As long as maybe they'll hack the Mexican government again or something.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Who knows? But
yeah. All right. Maybe. Yeah. Shoot.
But you're right. I mean, you can't steal from someone's crypto wallet. So yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's I think you're right. I think that's going to be a huge onboard for crypto here. very soon. I mean, you're starting to see it's just sort of cute and clunky right now how agents are interacting with each other. You had that, can't remember what it was, the social media. I didn't even look, but the social media site. It just seemed it's just fun. It's funny.
Oh, for claw bots, the
Yeah.
mod claw or something,
Something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
And then there's another thing that popped up that was funny, which was agents, but who need humans to go do stuff for them in the
Yes.
physical world, which I
Yeah.
signed up for under like a throwaway email because I just wanted to see what it was. But it's just kind of funny how it's very clunky how it's all working right now. But that's going to get smoothed out here real quick.
Oh yeah, well it's like remember the Will Smith AI video that came out a few years ago, like
Oh
eating,
God, yeah, with
eating
his face is
spaghetti
all
and
weird.
stuff, and
Yeah, yeah.
everyone's like, "Oh, this is stupid." I mean,
Yeah.
God, it's only a couple of years,
Yeah.
and look at the quality of videos now. Like, holy smokes!
Yep.
But you mentioned that AI's paying humans to do stuff in meat space. Have you guys seen the movie Gamer with Gerard Butler?
Long time ago. Can't say I have.
Man, it just I don't like horror movies and the stuff like that. I get just freaks me out.
Yeah.
And that movie gave me the ick because it was like it wasn't like a horror, but it really highlighted the really dark side of humanity. And so if someone hasn't seen it, this is a bit of a spoiler alert. But basically it was humans controlling other humans in like a Sim City kind of type environment. And it was basically humans who are like they need to work, right? They're poor, whatever, and they basically are prostituting themselves to be controlled by other humans who will use their bodies like a character in a video game, and they just run around, do crazy, weird stuff, and of course, it's just all the humans that are controlling this the video game controllers are just using these other humans to do despicable, gross things.
Yeah.
And it just the movie, I think about it, just gives me the heebie-jeebies because I believe it. I think if that existed, that most humans would use other humans like that. I actually believe that that's.
I hope not, Kenton. Jeez.
I hope, dude. Look at COVID. I mean, look at how many people were just celebrating lockdowns and
Yeah.
like you're disgusting if you don't get vaccinated, all kind of stuff. Like, man, everyone's inner Nazi really came out, and I'm like, this wasn't a small subset of society. This was like a solid 30-40% of people, and maybe even for a brief period, maybe a majority, and then those people in the middle have maybe changed their minds. But I still think there's probably a good 25% of people who still think they're right about COVID. And anyway, but bringing this back to AI, is it like, what if AI is having control of these humans and doing these weird, crazy, has no value system, like you mentioned, it's got a messed up value system, and somehow it's controlling these humans to do stuff. Just like,
Yeah. I mean, that's why, defensive technologies are so important for us.
Yeah.
It prevents our enslavement. And
Yeah.
that's why, it's so important that we're working on this right now. I really do think it's like this next 5 years is extremely critical because I've been working, initially with AI. I was actually, so I'm a musician too. You can find my music on Spotify or whatever, just search my name. But one of my last releases were in like 2023, and one of my songs was like very afraid of AI at the time, and I was just thinking of what it would look like when I wrote the song, and it's not as dorky as it sounds. It's a good song, but I've come a long way. But my initial thought was like, this is a tool for enslavement because all it really needs to do is just give us a false reality. Like, just needs to take over our information sphere. We see things in the lens that they give us, and we're really fucked. But and AI at the time was not very. I mean, that was like GPT, I don't know, 3 or something at the time, it was crazy what it could do, but still. How far it's come in the next it is, I can't even describe what I think AI is going to be able to do in 5 years from now. Like, it's a whole different world. So the time, that's why I just think this is the inflection point. It's like the time is now to work on this stuff, to make it happen. And we have the tools. We just need to do it.
Do you follow Brian Rommel?
Oh yeah.
Twitter?
Romilly. Yeah.
I love him. That guy, he's
Love
such
him.
a cool guy. Like, if you guys don't follow him on Twitter, you should follow me. Like, you can tell he's like a real positive guy, like a real positive vibe, but he's a real futurist.
Yes.
And he's been tweeting about 5,000 days.
Yep.
Do you know what he's talking about? What is this?
So I do subscribe to his website, but I'm behind because he writes these super in depth, very detailed articles, and I'm behind on that. So I don't know what
Okay.
this is. He taught me a lot about AI, like how you interact with it, how you teach. So I have an education degree, so I like kind of naturally think about how people learn. It's just sort of how I was trained, and which I think honestly gives me an advantage when dealing with AI because that's the way that I approach it. I teach it all about the thing that I'm trying to do and learn from it. Like it's a back and forth, but I feel like I get a way better result from doing it that way. And that's a lot of Romilly helped me think through that as well, like how I designed my early prompting with AI. But no, he's
Oh, cool.
awesome.
Yeah, and like he's been dumpster diving for decades to
Yes.
save all these old like tapes and recordings and books and all this kind of stuff, and so that we don't lose that history of humanity. And he's training his AI and all this old
Yes.
stuff, right? And like it's really interesting when you think about it, because like how much of our stuff is more and more going onto the cloud, more and more online. It's like I saw a post the other day, someone talking about, once we lose our subscription to Spotify, all that music is gone. I don't have any. I got rid of all my CDs, my tapes. I don't have any records. Like, think about a nuclear holocaust. All of that
Gone.
music that we love is gone, right? And so it's the same with our history, and the way we think, way we did things in the past, right? Like AI is only being trained on the last 15 years, maybe 20 years of like human stuff, but there's a whole thousands of years of history before that. So it's pretty cool what he's doing. And yeah, I think his 5,000 days is something like what you said. We've only got this short window before AI and robots completely change everything. Like, and within that window, we've got to do X, Y, and Z or something. And I'm not quite sure exactly what he thinks we need to do. But yeah,
Let's get him on the show. Let's ask him.
Oh, you should. I mean, he's fantastic. He's a brilliant dude, and he surfaced a problem that I never thought about before, everybody should have, which is exactly this. We have a lot of collective knowledge. Some of that is coming to light now, where if you think about like the Graham Hancock stuff and advanced civilizations before,
dude, I should have thought this was amazing. I just came across this in last year. Like, holy dude.
I mean, I've been listening to him on Rogan for years. The guy is, it's crazy to think about. But you just think of if there was, there's a lot of evidence that there was advanced civilizations prior to the last ice age. So 15,000 years ago. And that's all gone. And think about what if there was some sort of cataclysmic event. If it happened now, 100 years or 200 or 300 years, what would be left of us? All the technology would be gone. So 1,000 years from now, people would be like digging through, like trying to excavate and see what we were all about. None of this stuff would survive. It would all just get, it would just all go into the void. So Romilly is definitely surfacing this issue where we have all of this knowledge, even from the last 100 years, that we've recorded, either on audio, video, whatever, old commercials even, that people are like, who's saving that stuff? The people who originally broadcast it, well, a lot of them are gone. So he's been getting all getting all those hard copies and digitizing it so that, and training AI off it so that we don't lose that wisdom and knowledge that we had.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Romilly, that's how you say his last name?
I think that is Brian Romilly. Yeah.
Romilly. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. We got a question.
Yeah, I'll put up here with the Coke. Does Matt follow Jeff Berwick? Do you know who that is?
Why do I know that the name sounds familiar?
He's in ANCAP. He's got Dollar Vigilante. He's in Puerto Vallarta. Acapulco, and he does Anarcapulco.
This guy?
Maybe I know. Maybe I follow. Yeah. I'd have to check and look it out. But
Founder
if he's awesome,
of Dollar Vigilante.
The name that all sounds familiar.
He's in ANCAP. He's been in the and he started Anarcapulco. He's been in the liberty movement now for.
I don't think I ever met him. His name sounds very familiar to me, but I don't think we've ever met.
Do you know why Coke? Why did you ask that question, Coke? Why?
Because
Correct,
he
Kenton.
wants them to know each other. Yes,
I'd
that's
love to
why what it
know
is.
any liberty friendly person. I'd love to know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is why I'm so glad we're doing this. You know what I
Me
mean?
too.
Just to get that relationship established, and man, this has been such a fun conversation, you guys. It's effortless to talk with you, Matt. It really is. I mean, when you know all the things, it's just, and you're teaching me things as well. Very interesting, your base of experience, what you derived from. And I'm definitely been checking out your website, man. Super cool.
Thanks, Danny.
Because it's for me, because I'm a THORChain educator, like my focus is just so THORChain oriented. You know what I mean? Because I was in politics, I was trying to do both. Unbelievably exhausting time, right? I'm completely out of politics now. I'm so burnt out. I don't care now. My sole focus is to get the first principles in line, fix society, the economics, right? That's my entire goal right now. So I really appreciate someone like yourself who's able like to pay attention to this and keep me up to speed, because I deem you as a highly reputable source. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
There ain't many people that I would just believe off the cuff, but you've proven it that you're a fair and free thinker, and that's so important. You know what I mean? Like I wish that was more common, right? People have this desire, this emotional, like this narcissism where they never want to admit they're wrong, or like they don't strive for accuracy. They just strive to win, the linguistic war, right? And that's so annoying to me. So I just love people who want to increase their approximation to truth, right? And not so much the social hierarchy of where they stand. It's okay to be wrong. I've been wrong many times in my life, and
Totally.
it's only made me a better person when I acknowledge when I was incorrect, right?
Thanks for saying that, Danny. I mean, I think I gravitate towards people who are earnest.
Yeah.
I know that I'm wrong and can be wrong, and but I value people like Dave Smith, of course, I listen to, and Tom Woods, and a lot of other great libertarians out there, because I believe that they are telling me what they think, what they actually believe, and that earnestness is super important. And so that's what I try to do as well. I'm sure I'm wrong, but I just try to tell what I actually believe. And and we need that, because once you peel back everybody's seen the montage of all corporate media parroting the same thing over and over. Once you see that, you're like, oh Jesus, that's all controlled. Like that's just all a script.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that a lot with like the conservative influencers right now too. It's just they're parroting all the same stuff, and then it's been uncovered that they've been paid and all sorts of crazy stuff. And
Yeah.
you just try. I think most humans want to talk to or be around or listen to people that they think are earnest. So it's just so important.
That shows oh, sorry, Kenton. That's the white pill, right? Because what happened just a few years ago, maybe less than 10 years, podcasts took off, right? Like before, no one would have believed that people would sit around and watch a Joe Rogan conversation for 3 or 4 hours. No, he became one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world because people just want accurate information. I think that's the big white pill. People know they're being lied to. Yeah, they want accurate, honest. They just want to hear a genuine conversation. They're tired of this controlled, soundbite freaking world that we've lived in for the past 40 years or 50 or 60 years, whatever it is. They just want real talk, real conversation. There's something inside of us. Like you, Matt, like when you speak, and when Kenton speaks, I know it's coming from a position of earnestness and truthfulness. And it's something I can't logically explain. I just feel it. We all have like this, most of us anyway, have this internal sociopath detector where they say something where maybe their intonation in their voice, or they're like, there's an incongruency there. And you're like, what's going on, right? I don't get that at all with you guys. And that's why I think Joe Rogan and other people have really done well. So I think I'm bullish on humanity. We got some work to do, but I'm bullish.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
I was chatting with a friend yesterday who's relatively new to crypto, like last year, and she's talking about going to a conference and talking to people. And she's like, well, "What if someone's from a project and they're like, oh, I'm from this project," and I'm like, "I've never heard of it, but they, it's like Ethereum. She should know about it," type deal, right? And she's gonna feel stupid. She's like, "Maybe I shouldn't say anything." Which I say, I'm like, "Well, just don't feel bad. Like what's worse is I've been with THORChain talking to, trying to go do stuff for THORChain, and someone's like, "Oh yeah, I've been following THORChain for a long time, blah, blah, love what you guys are doing." I'm like, "Oh really?" I'm like, "What about this and that?" And they just in blank stares. And I'm like, well, I can tell then they're lying to me because they don't know anything going on with THORChain. And like, it's way worse. you can fix being wrong about something, but you can't fix poor character. And as soon as you show somebody that you're lying or making something up, and you instantly show you have poor character, there's no fixing that. If you go back to my friend, if she, you know, says, "Oh, I've never heard of Tether," okay, well, she might look silly, but at least she's showing her character that she's honest, which is which is way more important, right? So, and that's exactly what back. That's why I kind of started to kind of correct you, Denny, about Rogan. About he gets stuff wrong too. We all do, but at
Yeah.
least we're being honest. We're we're there's no other agenda. We're like, this is honestly what we think and feel and believe. We could be wrong, but we're not making stuff up. We're not lying, right? We're not. We're telling it how we see it, which is exactly it. I think that's what we all want. We all expect it. We all know no one's perfect. None of us are always right, but as long as you're not lying about it, right?
Right. Yes.
So
That's
It's
exactly.
uncomfortable. It's definitely uncomfortable to be wrong, especially publicly wrong. But
yeah,
once you sort of recognize that that humanity's sort of base position is, well, impoverished, but also is ignorant, it's like you can't know everything. You're not going to know everything. So we're all just learning and trying to figure it out. And if you're new to a community, we're asking a lot of dumb questions. But
yeah,
most people are happy, especially in crypto. If you're in it, if you approach someone who's philosophically in crypto philosophically for philosophical reasons, you're happy to have new people come in and have conversations about it. You're happy. It's fine that they're ignorant about it. They just want to learn. So it gives you some humility when you realize that. You're like, oh yeah, no, we were all born stupid. Like we just don't know anything. We have to discover it.
There might be something wrong with my brain, but I don't really I don't care about social hierarchies, and I legitimately don't care what people think of me. Like, I swear to God, I just say words and hope for the best. I do not care. And I get excited actually when someone corrects me, because if I'm holding on to a false premise or an idea, false belief system, that is harmful to me, right? So
That's
if
right.
someone corrects me, then I just leveled up. And I think what people don't understand that is, like, you want to be corrected. And even if maybe it's embarrassing for you, like, so what? Like, people have the attention span of a bird. Like, they're going to forget, and then you're going to level up. I mean, that is such a deterrent for personal growth. People, they want to, like, turtle in and just, like, negative feedback loop into their own ignorance because they don't want to risk looking stupid. It's like, what is going on? Like, you're hurting yourself, really.
Matt, you mentioned nobody wants to make a mistake in public. Like I've said some things in THORChain that were wrong, and one of a moderator, a community member at THORChain, his name's Sam Yap, he'll correct me and like publicly correct me, but I take it as a sign of respect.
Yeah.
Because I think he respects me. He knows that I'm not taking offense to it. That we're just just correcting like an error in facts, which is awesome, right? I want that. But what could be? It's like having something in your teeth, and none of your friends are telling you about it. It's like, thanks, guys. Like,
So
come on,
true.
like it's so. I love it when Sam Yap corrects me, because like well, obviously my intention is I want to be correct. I don't want to be wrong. And thanks for pointing it out that I was wrong. And I think this is such a healthy, positive environment to be in, when we can feel safe to be wrong, and we can feel safe to correct somebody without them being offended by it. It's great.
That's a gift that you both have, though. I mean, that's great. I aspire to be as comfortable being being in that position as you are. I don't know that I always take it well, but no, that's the way it should be. You're exactly right.
Well, I'll be honest. My first, my ego is like, you're embarrassed.
Damn it.
But that's we choose how we react to things, right? And that's
It's true.
I can catch that I'm reacting the wrong way, and I'm like, okay, then I realize this is good. So I'm human too. I still feel embarrassment.
That's the Viktor Frankl, right? Like our choice is really the space between some sort of impulse and our reaction to it. That's where our power lives.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it. Shout out
to Sam. Yeah, he's a great community member. He's definitely he's on the right side of history.
He is. I love that man. I have a small story real quick. I gotta say it, because you mentioned the teeth thing, Kenton, and I know you're talking about, it's like when you're eating and you have like a little piece of speck of pepper on your tooth, like one black speck of pepper makes you look like a diseased, like, mongrel person. Like, you just look horrendous. And so I was in surgery, all right, with the doctor. She was doing it, and we got done with the search. She pulled down her mask and we're talking, and she was going to go talk to a client. And then she had that one speck of pepper. I'm like, hey, you got a piece of pepper. And she looked, she's like, oh my God, thank you. And then she took a surgical line, 3/0, what we call, and she cut the surgical line and she used it as floss to get the pepper out of her mouth. You know what I mean? But exactly, right? That's what it is. It's all about error correction. And it's like, even if you believe something incorrect, like someone, like if I did something incorrect for 30 years and someone told me, it's like, you can either A, be mad at yourself, like, oh my God, I did the wrong thing for 30 years, or you can say, thank God I finally figured it out and now I don't do that way anymore, right? But go ahead, Kenton, I interrupted you. I had to say that.
That was great. I was just going to say, we're coming up on 2 hours here. And Matt, I don't know, is there anything that you want to touch on, you want to talk about that we haven't got into that you'd like to?
I mean, we could talk about anything forever, but no, I think this is a great conversation, and very glad that we got to have it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming.
It's great meeting you and chatting with you. Yeah, love to do this again sometime. Meet you in real life one day. Yeah.
And I hope we can meet you in real life. We got to do that. We got to form that human connection, because even if we have the best conversation right here, there's that distance, and there's nothing like meeting someone in the hand, like shaking their hand, maybe having a hug, sharing a drink. It's that human connection. We got to go with that. So with that being said, guys, do you think we should wrap this up here? What do you guys say?
Sure.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, guys. This has been an amazing live stream. I'm going to do it one more time, you guys. Brave the new .world. Brave the new .world. Matt Carano, I believe that's how you pronounce the last name. Amazing guy, guys. You guys, please follow him on X, all the social media. Check out his music, by the way. He's a musician. We didn't even touch that, but now I have to check that after this is done. That's friggin' cool. You know what I mean? Guys, follow the information. He does not charge a subscription service, so there's no reason not to. Help us share this information. We're all on the same team here. We all have to work together to make this world a better place. And that's what we're going to do. Guys, next Saturday, we're going to be talking with Mark Jeffrey. He is the Hash Rate podcast. I've interacted with him a little on social media. I'm really looking forward to talk to him. And then the following week, we have Hassan Bior Labs and then Sal, the agorist. I'm really looking forward to talk to him too.
You know what agorism is, right, Matt? I assume.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking to Sal, because again, agorism is one of those things where, like, you're deep into it. You're well read if you understand agorism. So, looking forward to that one. Sorry, Denny.
No, dude. I'm glad you said that. Absolutely. So, guys, please, again, follow Matt. And Matt, hey, if you ever got something going on, you want to do this again, you are welcome anytime, buddy. 100%.
Awesome. We'd love to. Yeah,
all right,
sounds
guys.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Absolutely. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend. We all love you. Take care now. Bye-bye.